Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a third trimester recap. I thought I would just sit down here in baby's room and film it. Seems appropriate. This has probably the best lighting in the house. So unfortunately this room, I won't be able to film in it in the future, but for now I definitely can get some good lighting for the video. So if you have not been keeping up on my pregnancy, or maybe you're just coming across this video for the first time because maybe you're in your third trimester, getting close to the end, you want to hear about somebody else's third trimester. I am currently 36 weeks pregnant with baby number 2 and have been doing updates throughout the entire pregnancy. I did an announcement video, a 12-week update video, a 20-week update, a second trimester update, and now at 36 weeks I'm going to do my third trimester recap. I did this with my first baby. It just kind of made sense to do it at 36 weeks to kind of like wrap everything up, because at this point baby can really come whenever he wants. I want to make sure I get everything kind of captured and put out in the video before he comes along. So for my previous pregnancy update videos, I kind of was going through week by week and sharing symptoms and kind of what was going on. Because this is pregnancy number 2, I've been a little bit more relaxed about, I guess, keeping track of my symptoms. So I think for this update, I'm just going to do like an overall, like how the third trimester went, how I've been feeling. I'll talk about the big updates like the ultrasounds and my VBAC plans and kind of like how I'm going into the last couple of weeks here, but I don't think I'm going to go through a ton of symptoms, just because, I mean, you can pretty much guess what my symptoms are in the third trimester. I'm big, I'm uncomfortable, I'm ready to be done. So that's pretty much, I think, how everybody feels in their third trimester. I could be wrong. So that's kind of the approach I'm gonna take in this update. I think for my first part of the video here, I'm actually gonna do a bump update because I haven't really been sharing my bump, and I didn't do that on purpose. I wasn't like trying to keep it private just for myself or like anything like that. It just wasn't something that I would thought of doing. I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into like all the details about it, but like pregnancy has been very hard. It's been very much a struggle for me, and so I think I just kind of like forgot to do them. Was not my intention. So we'll go ahead, we'll take a look at the bump and how he is looking. So there he is. He is looking quite big. I think, like, I was looking at pictures of my first and compared to this one, and I think he looks a little bit smaller, or at least the bump looks smaller, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's because he is in a different position than my first, which, I mean, we'll get into, but yeah, that's the belly, that's the bump right now. Overall, my bump feels like pretty good. I don't think I have stretch marks yet. I know they can still come. I've been putting oil and all belly butter on them. I show that in my pregnancy favorites video. So I know that those tend to be more like genetic and hereditary, so there's not much I can actually do about that, but I've been keeping an eye on it, and I don't think I have any yet, but I'm expecting to have some loose skin for sure on my belly button. My belly button really popped this time, and I already had some loose skin there from before, so I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens postpartum. So let's talk a little bit about his position. So the reason that I say that the bump looks a little bit smaller this time, and again, I don't know if this is because he actually is smaller than Rhea was at this point or because of his position, but he is head down. He was head down at the doctor's appointment the other day, and he's been that way for at least 2 weeks now, 2.5 weeks or so. And so I think that that has something to do with it. Rhea, my first, she was breech, and she was like in my ribs, and so I think that a lot more of her body was like actually showing out through the bump, whereas it's just like his back and his butt basically that are sticking out. His feet are tucked in to my sides over here or up in my ribs, and then his head is very low. So I think that that's why it looks a little different. Who knows? I mean, you probably shouldn't compare, but just an observation that I made and also my husband has made. Okay, so I am going to reference my phone because I do have some notes that I'm going to go through. We'll kind of just talk a little bit about some of the symptoms. We won't do anything too detailed, but I do just want to kind of mention it. If you missed my second trimester recap, I'll link all that stuff down below so you can see it, but at the end of my second trimester, I had another ultrasound done because I was having placenta concerns throughout, basically since I was 20 weeks to 28 weeks, and so I did have to have a couple extra ultrasounds done. I had 2 extra ultrasounds done this trimester. The first one to check on my placenta to see if I had placenta accrete. I do not. So that was really relieving to hear that. If you don't know what that is, it's basically when your placenta grows into your uterine wall. It's pretty serious. You have to have a hysterectomy generally with it. So got cleared of that, and my placenta also was high enough away from my cervix to be able to attempt a VBAC, which is also great news. And I had another ultrasound done at 33 weeks just to check on my placenta again, but also because I had COVID during my pregnancy. My doctor's office likes to check on growth of baby at 32 weeks. And so at that ultrasound, I was actually a day before turning 34 weeks was when I found out he was head down, and he had only turned head down in the couple days leading up to that appointment, because I went to the doctor at 33 weeks, I think on the dot. I think I turn over on a Tuesday, and I went on a Tuesday. He was not head down, and then over the Christmas weekend, he turned head down. So I was pretty relieved when that happened. I actually had stopped trying to get him to turn, which I'll get into because things were just getting kind of stressful. So that's the biggest update, I think, for this trimester, is that my placenta looks good. Everything looks good. I'm clear. He's healthy. I am healthy, and we get to attempt a VBAC. So that's the biggest update to take away from this video. In terms of other things that happened during this trimester, it was pretty stressful at the beginning. My daughter was actually hospitalized when I was 30 weeks. She got RSV over Thanksgiving, and it was really not great. She was in the hospital for 6 days, and very stressful. You know, you're worried. She actually was in the PICU, so that was something that we kind of had to navigate. My husband had to take time off from work to be able to be there with her, and I took time off as well. But with him taking the time off from her being in the hospital, it ate into the time that he gets to be off after baby comes. So that's something that was kind of unfortunate, but just something that we had to deal with. So we know that going into baby's arrival, that he won't be able to take as much time off as we had hoped. And unfortunately, he doesn't qualify for FMLA because he's not been with the company he's with for a year yet, and that's kind of standard. When my daughter was released from the hospital, we got home, started getting back into the swing of things. I noticed that was actually when a lot of my disruptions happened in my pregnancy. That's when I started to notice disruptions in my sleep, having a lot of hip pain, and I don't know if it was kind of triggered from that time that she was in the hospital and being stressed and sleeping on a really uncomfortable bed, but that was when I started to notice a lot of that. So that was at 31 weeks. I noticed that he was not head down at that point. I made the observation that he didn't seem to be head down, and I started to really try and get him to flip. I tried the breech baby course, and I've been doing inversion since 20 weeks, and I just was so stressed about it. The breech course is from Spinning Babies is pretty intense. It takes a while, and it's 6 days, and I did it, and he didn't move. And at that point, because of everything that had happened with Rhea, and because it was the holidays, and I felt like I just was so defeated. I was like, why am I not able to get him to flip? I felt like I was working so hard for it. I just kind of told my husband, I was like, I think I just need to try and relax, do what I can, and kind of let what happens happen. And I did look into a chiropractor. I was gonna go, and then I had to cancel it because of weather, and then I ended up rescheduling it, but never had to go because he flipped head down. So that was at 32 weeks was when I just kind of was like, I need to just relax and kind of take a step back, and he flipped. So I don't know if that has anything to do with me relaxing or if that was just his time, but that was kind of the approach that I started to take for the last few weeks here of my pregnancy in general, not just with him flipping, but everything around me. I'm just trying to worry about the things that I can control and not think about the things that are out of my control. Probably a good approach in general, no matter if you're pregnant or not. So between 31 and 33 weeks, I have that there was a lot more movement going on when I noticed him trying to flip head down. I started to have my ankles hurt a little bit more. I started losing motivation to work out. Like, things just started to kind of slow down, and I think that was Christmas. I think that was what that was, because that's kind of gone away. But I noted that at 33 weeks I actually fell in the house. I was just walking and I slipped and I fell on my knee, so I didn't fall on my belly or my butt or anything like that, but I still went in, got monitored, everything was fine, he was fine, I was fine, besides like a bruised knee. But ever since then, I make sure I wear my slippers around the house now, so that I have something that like grips onto the floor instead of just like socks on hardwood. At 33 weeks, I have here that I was uncomfortable and that I definitely noticed him getting bigger. That was like when I really was like, he's growing. And then that was when I made note of having more consistent bowel movements. I was pretty constipated through my entire pregnancy. That's very normal. And I noted that that started happening a little bit more, and that has been about the same now for the past 3 weeks. So I'm not really surprised by that. I've heard that that can happen as you get ready for labor. I mean, everything is kind of contracting anyways. So I just thought it was interesting that I noticed it kind of early. 33 weeks seems kind of early to notice that. At 34 weeks, I put that food is no longer interesting. Like, not like the first trimester where you're like sick by everything, but like, I don't want chicken, I don't want salad, I don't want veggies. I'm just kind of like snacking on crackers again, which I think is so weird. I didn't think I ever wanted saltines again, but having crackers, I've been buying a lot of fruit so that I can at least snack on fruit, because I at least want to eat something healthy. And you know, then of course there's cravings. Nachos are like the biggest thing, but I'm trying really hard not to eat those things because they're not healthy. I shouldn't be eating them. I don't eat those normally, so I try really hard not to, even if I am pregnant. But I have been just kind of snacking a little bit more and eating smaller meals throughout the day. I am eating dates right now, so I was surprised that I actually liked those, which was very interesting. Dates are supposed to be good for your cervix, which is why I'm eating them, so you can look that up. It's pretty common knowledge, I think, with most people. At 36 weeks, which is this week, I have noted that he's doing a lot of hiccups, a lot more hiccuping than I had noticed before. Rhea hiccuped all the time. She always had the hiccups, and then she had them when she was born as well, but I've noticed it more this week. And I also had my 36-week appointment both with my doctor and my doula, and then I also noted that my contractions actually are becoming more noticeable. They're not discomfort. I'm trying not to use the word pain. I'm trying to use the word like discomfort, just as like a hypnobirthing thing. And they are not, you know, I'm not stopping to breathe through them. They're not like disrupting my day or anything like that, but they definitely are more noticeable and stronger than they had been. And I am calling them contractions because my doctor's office is calling them contractions. They are no longer Braxton Hicks. They're just contractions. I noticed that, and I also noticed that it happens a lot if I have to go to the bathroom. So I'm trying to go to the bathroom a lot more and just like empty my bladder, because that definitely makes them happen a little bit more, which I think is pretty normal. I think it's normal that if you're having contractions like early, like before 37 weeks, that you're supposed to like empty your bladder and try and walk around and try and get them to like go away, because usually that's all it is. My 36-week appointment went really well. I met with my doctor. I hadn't seen her in about a month, just because of timing and appointments and weather. I had to see different doctors, but I finally saw my doctor, and she spent a lot of time with me, which I really appreciate. I think a lot of people tend to feel like they're being rushed when they're in the doctor's office. She's been spending quite a bit of time with me when I have been meeting with her, and I really appreciate that. We're going over a lot of details. I'm asking a lot of questions, and we're doing a lot of talking and going back and forth on like our thoughts and our approach for the birth, because I am attempting a VBAC, so there's a lot of stuff on her side that she's going through, and then there's a lot of stuff on my side that I'm hoping to do. So we've been doing a lot of talking through that. We're not seeing like eye to eye completely, her and I, but I'm really glad that we're having the time and the conversation, and it's very respectful. You know, it's not like we're butting heads, it's just we're seeing it a little bit differently, and that makes sense. She's a doctor, she's coming from the medical side, and I'm coming from being a mom. And like, you know, I right now feel like the decisions that I want to make when I'm there are going to be the best for me and baby, because I know myself best and I know baby best, and truly I'm the only one that knows baby at this point. So I'm trying to like think about it like that and just get all the questions out. Like, I just want to be informed, and I think that it's going really well with me and my doctor. I think it will be a little bit of a challenge, I'm not gonna lie, when we actually get into like labor and birth. I think there's going to be some times where I'm gonna have to say no, and it's gonna be a little bit weird, but I'm anticipating that, and I think it's okay. I have told my husband that, I told my doula that, so everybody's on the same page. I met with my doula as well this week. She came out, we met her yesterday. It was really great. She stayed for about an hour and a half. We talked through everything. We talked through, everything. We talked through what we're gonna do for labor. We talked about my birth preferences. I went over my birth preferences, printed them out. I have them in my bag. Send a copy to her. She likes to have that so she can kind of like reference back to it. We talked about what the expectation is for labor because she does live kind of far away from us, and so I think I'm going to just have her meet us at the hospital. We'll see how long labor last, but I have a feeling that I'm not gonna have her come all the way out to our house. And then we talked about what we're gonna do in the hospital and some of the things that I'd like to see her do given some of the circumstances that I'm working with in a hospital setting. For a VBAC, it's going to be a little bit different than like a birthing center, and obviously if you're at home you can do basically whatever you want, so I do have to kind of like be on that line, but I purposely chose this doula because she delivered at the hospital where I'm going to deliver at, and she's done VBACs at this hospital, so we feel really good. I feel really like she understands where I'm coming from, and she also has like praised some of the things that I've been doing to prepare for my VBAC and to get baby head down and all that stuff, so I really feel like we're on the same page. We're vibing. My husband asked a lot of good questions, and he has kind of an idea of like what he can do during the situation. My husband is a nurse, if you don't know, so I kind of have designated him as like the person that needs to talk to the medical staff when we get there, when things start to happen. Like if I say no to something and they're trying to push back on it, he's the one that's gonna step in and kind of explain to them like, she said no, please chart it and we're gonna move on. Like I'm kind of tasking him with that because I think that makes the most sense. I don't think it makes sense for me to do it, and the doula can't do it because she can't make decisions on my behalf, but I think he's gonna do good at that. That's what he does for his job, so yeah, we'll kind of see how that works out. We also talked a little bit about postpartum and like, do I have the care that I'm gonna need postpartum? Do I have postpartum care items, you know, to take care of myself and things to take care of baby? She can set up a meal train for us, which I think is amazing. So yeah, everything is set up. We've done all the meetings, we have all the appointments done, so at this point it's just the waiting game. I am going to the doctor weekly now, just standard, and plan to go weekly until he comes. And then depending on how far along I go in the pregnancy, I may do another video. I'll definitely keep you updated in vlogs as well as to like what happens if I go to 41 weeks, because that is going to be interesting on how I get to navigate that, because I can't be induced. Well, I can be, kind of, but I have to be dilated far enough on my own before I can do that. We'll talk about it if we get there, but basically at this point we're just playing the waiting game. I do feel like he may come early. I've kind of had that feeling the whole time, and given like the fact that I'm having these like more regular bowel movements, and I'm not like constipated as I was, and also that the contractions are becoming more noticeable, I don't know. I just have this feeling that he's gonna come before 40 weeks, before his due date. I mean, he could come at 39 weeks and that would be early too, I guess, but I don't know. I just kind of have the feeling that that's gonna happen, but I have no idea. I don't know how far dilated I am. I asked not to know when she checked on the other day, at my appointment. I don't think I'm gonna find out next week either. At 37 weeks? I'll probably ask at 38 weeks. How far dilated I am, and then we'll see if I end up doing membrane sweeps. I haven't decided yet, so stay tuned. I'll put all that probably in like a birth story video. Alright, so that is everything I can think of for my third trimester. I am kind of in disbelief that the end of the pregnancy is getting so close. I knew it would happen really quickly after the holidays, but I feel like because February is a short month as well, it's like gonna come up and it's just gonna fly by. Like, he's gonna be here and February is gonna fly by and I'm gonna be like already like a month and a half postpartum and I'm not even gonna realize it. Please let me know if you have any questions about my pregnancy that maybe I haven't answered or that you didn't see in this video. Please check out the playlist down below for this pregnancy and for my first pregnancy if you're interested in hearing about how that one went and also about how my C-section went, because it is a positive C-section story. So you should, if you are somebody that had a C-section or like maybe you're concerned about that, because that was my greatest fear, you can check out that video because I did have a very positive experience. So I'm hoping this time around to come out with a positive VBAC experience. That would be great. So stay tuned. I will definitely be sharing all of that after it happens. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a really good day and a good week when you see this. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.